Hi, and welcome back to Coin Savvy. If you're new here, my name is Rachel. For the OGs, I tweaked my setup a little bit, so I invested in a mic, so the audio should be better now. Do let me know in the comments if you can hear a difference. I hope you can. Today, we are diving into something that's crucial for surviving the adulting journey, budgeting. I will walk you through simple steps that will help you take control of your budget and manage your money better. So, if you're new to budgeting, then this is just the video for you. And if you've already been budgeting, I hope that I'll be able to share some tips that will help you enhance your budgeting experience. First things first, why is budgeting so important? A budget is like a roadmap for your money. It helps you track your spending, ensures that you are living within your means, and it also helps you save for your future goals. So, without a budget, it's easy to lose track of your spending and you could end up in debt. As usual, I have a personal anecdote about budgeting. Not that I did not believe in budgeting, I just didn't think that it was something that I needed to do. So, how I used to manage my money is once I got paid, I'd pay all my major bills like rent and try to have money for food and whatever else. And then whatever money was left in my account, is like I would just like throw it up in the air, and wherever it landed, that's what I would use it on. But at some point, I honestly got tired of looking at my bank balance and wondering, like, where the hell did my money go to? And that's when I started seriously budgeting. The first step in creating a budget is tracking your income and expenses. You need to know how much money you have coming in and how much you are spending. I would suggest that you do this for at least a month. That way, you are able to get an accurate understanding of your finances and also clarity on your situation. As I've mentioned before, a handy tool to do this is the Money Manager app. It's the one that I use, and I will link it down below. It works for me because one, it's free and easily accessible on my phone, and two, the categories that are on the app work for my lifestyle. So as you start on this journey and you're trying to figure out what tools to use, please experiment, and I'm sure you'll find something that works for your lifestyle. As you track your income and expenses, also categorize your spending. This will help you see where your money is going and also help you make adjustments when necessary. So if you're using an app, say like Money Manager, chances are your expenses will already have been categorized. However, if you're using Excel or Google Sheets, there's what I will share. And also the other option is just search for a template online that you can adapt to fit your needs. If you choose to create a Google Sheet from scratch, this is how you can do it. First, I'll create a line item for income sources. In this case, I'll have a salary that will be 100,000. And since our fictional person, let's call her Susan, has some investments, I'll also add investment income. So Susan is expecting a coupon from a bond this month, and that will be 12,000. Then I'll have 3 columns with item, category, and amount. For convenience, I will create a drop-down menu for the category section, and I will include bills, fees, food, savings, transport, entertainment, household, and personal care. So this is not a comprehensive list of categories. You can add or remove depending on what your needs are. Next, I will input the expenses. So this is just an example. I'm just going to put in random expenses that I imagine a normal person living in Nairobi will have spent on over the course of a month. Once that's done, I'll just clean up the sheet a bit, and then I will add formulas so that you can sum up Susan's total income and her total spend. Then by taking away her spend from her income, we can see how much Susan has left over to spend or save at this point. What I have shared is a very basic template to track your expenses. I will link it down below for those who are interested. You can either add new columns, remove categories, add new ones, etc. You'll just do what you need to do so that the template suits your needs. By categorizing expenses, you can easily identify areas where you might be overspending. Also, as you continue to track your expenses, you'll be able to see a pattern in how you spend money, and that will give you more information that you need to create your budget plan. Now that you know exactly where your money is going, it's time to set financial goals. Please note that the tracking of your spending and your income is not a one-off thing. It's something that you need to keep up with consistently if you want to be able to have a budget that works for you. The goals you set will help guide you budgeting and also help you stay motivated. So your goals could be short term. This would be something like, say, buying a phone, an appliance, saving for a trip, or long term, which would be something like saving for an emergency fund, for your retirement, or saving to build a home. Whatever your goals are, just make sure that they are specific, they're measurable, and that they're also realistic. For me to input the goals, I'll be using the same sheet that I had used for the expenses tracker. I'll just create a new tab next to it. So I'll start off with the columns and I'll have the following: goal, category, amount, start date, end date, time to goal, and lastly, monthly contribution. Next thing I'll do is format the table so that it looks slightly better. So then I'll create a drop-down menu for the category, and I'll do this by, I'll highlight the column, select data at the top menu, scroll down to data validation. A menu will appear to the left. Under criteria, I'll select drop down. It seems to be the default, and then I'll put in the names of the two categories I have, which is long and short. For the start date and end date, I'll make it easier to put in a date by doing the data validation thing again. I will highlight the two columns, and since the data validation menu is still open on the tab to my left, I'll add a new rule and select is valid date. For the time to goal, I'll need to input a formula that calculates the number of months between the start date and end date. To do this, I googled what the formula was, and then I made sure that I replaced the start date and end date in the formula with the correct cells. I then dragged down the fill handle down the column to apply the formula to the remaining cells. Lastly, Susan will be saving for her goals monthly, so I will divide the amount that she needs to get to by the time to the goal so that you can figure out what her monthly contributions will be. Okay, so let's put in some goals for Susan. The goals will be based on her existing expenses. As per her expenses, she's saving for her emergency fund and a laptop. For the dates, she started saving for the laptop December last year and plans to buy it in November, hopefully during the Black Friday period. As for her emergency fund, she started saving in June of last year, and she plans on contributing 10,000 shillings to it monthly up until December of 2025. As I had mentioned before, I will link this template down below and you can just adjust it to fit your needs. Having clear goals makes it easier to prioritize your spending and stay disciplined with your budget. With your financial goals in mind, it is now time to create your budget plan. This is where you decide how much money every month goes into each category. So a bit of planning with the future in mind is required here. And for me, how this looks like is noting down upcoming irregular expenses. An example of this would be maybe birthdays for family and close friends, where I know I'd probably be spending money on a gift or on a meal in a restaurant. Let's move to budget planning. We'll be using a template from Google Sheets. So go to the template gallery, select the annual budget option. The first thing I'll do is delete the starting balance because we don't need that. And then I'll also change the currency on all the tabs that require it. Susan just happens to be child-free, so I will remove this whole first section. So to put in the figures in the budget plan, we will use Susan's existing expenses. So what I'll do is just go to the different section on the sheet and I'll put in her living costs. Let's start with rent and bills. So Susan's rent and internet bill will be constant from January until December, so that stays the same for all the months. But for her water and electricity bills, those two vary. So say her electricity bill varies from 2,500 to around 3,000. I will select the higher option and then put a buffer on top of that. So that's why I have 3,200, and say her electricity varies from like 700 to 1,000. Again, I select 1,000 and also put a 200 shilling buffer on top of that. It is important to have a buffer for varying expenses so that you avoid dipping into other sections of your budget like savings whenever you need to top up on something. So I won't put all her expenses in this plan, but I'm sure you get the general idea. Just know that the end goal is to have every single shilling accounted for, and your aim should be to have your ending balance at 0. Remember, nothing in your budget is fixed in stone. Your budget should be flexible. Life happens and sometimes you need to adjust your plan. The key is to stay on top of it and make sure your spending habits align with your goals. Final step is tracking and reviewing your budget regularly. So set aside time every week or every month to review your spending and make sure that you are sticking to your plan. What works best for me is that I transfer data from the Money Manager app. There's an easy option to export onto Google Sheets, and then I compare the data of what I spent versus what I had initially allocated. When I am comparing my planned spend versus my actual spend, I also do a review and see where I can make adjustments. So say for example, I had allocated 10,000 shillings for entertainment, but I ended up spending 15, which means I have overshot my budget for that category by 5,000 shillings. There are two ways I would go about fixing this. So the first way is I review the different line items based on the information I get from tracking my spending and see what I can reduce on. If I'm not able to make a reduction, then I go back to my budget plan and I review the other categories outside of entertainment and see where I can pick a few coins here and there to fix my overspending issue on entertainment. Budgeting isn't a one-time thing, it's an ongoing process that helps you stay on track with your finances, and as with other things, the more you do it, the better you get at it. To wrap things up, here are a few final tips. Be realistic with your budget. Don't set yourself up for failure. Use budgeting tools or apps to make the whole process easier. Don't be too hard on yourself. Like if you slip up and don't stick to your budget, dust yourself off and keep going. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments what budgeting tips work for you.